Hi everyone, this is audap. Let's continue our game of Buried Stars on Nintendo Switch. Okay, got more interviews. This time with only 2 people. Or is it 3? I guess it would be 3. My memo, huh?
그런가?
The band's formation, history, and rumors? How thorough. Are these accurate?
네.
Yes, not even a single phone number is wrong. He did much more than revalidating the information acquired from the application forms and interviews. Even the agency he contacted is correct. Young let out a loud sigh.
나도야.
In that aspect, things aren't different for us. It contained everything, including where I worked after leaving show business and the contact information of the agency that went bankrupt. Why on earth would the show require this much information? A background check clue. This memo includes the name and location of a cafe that opened in 2012, a woman's name and contact in the name of an agency and its CEO.
도윤아,
Did he come to see your concert too?
네.
I told B-Stars the concert was scheduled before we joined the audition. They didn't say anything about coming to see us,
내 생각엔
although that would have been unnecessary. Given the circumstances, I can't help but be suspicious of him.
대체
I wonder what he wanted to check that time.
모르겠어.
I don't know. I've seen all kinds of... Sorry. I saw something weird on my laptop. I don't know. I've seen all kinds of strange things lately. You might as well believe that he came to see you because he was interested in your music. Well, I sincerely doubt that.
도대체
Not even a reporter would gather information like this. They were being vague about hissing, but
그게
come to think of it, Ciel had been referring to it as fact. It's probably because he already knew everything.
그러고 보니
Looks like he gathered any data that he could get his hands on. Young fiddled with a small business card.
그건
What's that? This is some ridiculous stuff. It's the business card of the CEO of the agency that managed Below. The agency went bankrupt years ago. How did he? An old and worn out business card of Strick, Entertainment CEO. It says the company went broke in 2016. Can't see the detail using show image.
근데
You can't obtain something like this just by asking the school for it.
혹시
He probably obtained it through background checks or taking shortcuts just like the other documents.
분명해.
I'm sure he did. I also found a similar document with my name on it. Young fiddled with a folded paper in her hands. What do you think it is?
글쎄요.
I have no idea.
그건
It's a document about my diagnosis. A medical certificate? No way.
맞아.
Yes, it's my psychiatric medical certificate. It's only a copy, but can't you believe it? This came out of Ciel's bag. Psychiatric documents issued in 2015 mentioning anxiety disorder, recurrent depressive disorder, and non-organic sleep disorder. can see the details using show image. Okay. A little obsessive. Plus he was like carrying it around with him.
그러고 보니
I didn't remember at first because I was so shocked. But now I remember the tablet that came out of his bag.
그래요?
You know the tablet?
그게
B-Stars issued those tablets to the staff for business purposes. They were given to the main staff only. Dune wedged in after listening to Yu-Young for a while.
그런가요?
I didn't know. What about the functions? Could the tablet be used to contact someone outside?
아무래도
The model that was given to the staff members. I'm sure it didn't have the phone app.
혹시
What about other functions?
그건
They weren't much different from the watch functions. That model had most of the functions. I'm not sure why he lied about the tablet though. Ciel's tablet model is the same as the one provided to the staff. All functions except calling would have been available.
도윤아,
Did you see what was written on the back of the photo? It was something like good friends or more than friends. Yu-Young flipped the photo for Ji-yoon.
그땐
That's when we went out together after filming to take a walk around the place. I can't believe he took the photo and wrote that without even telling us.
그렇구나.
That sounds like B-Stars. They should have just asked me if they had questions. Honestly, it makes me angry. I'm so pissed off. We're more than friends just because we took a walk together? That's some crazy interpretation.
그러니까
They will always come up with something clever to say whenever there's a boy and girl together. They probably wanted to use that as a topic for the show. Yu-Young gently stroked her hair. Anyways, this was taken without you knowing about it, right? Looks like he zoomed in to get a clear picture. This was planned.
끝. 어땠을 것 같아? 스폰서 얘기.
Yu-Young looked exhausted.
말씀하실 거라면 저도 들을 준비됐어요.
말을 꺼낸 이상 다 얘기할 생각이야.
Yu-Young began to speak in a subdued voice.
그날 난 약속한 호텔로 갔어. 몇 시간이나 일찍 가서 근처 카페에 우두커니 앉아 있었지. 모자 푹 눌러 쓰고 돌덩이처럼. 내일인데도 그제서야 혼자 생각해 본 거야. 그러다 새삼스럽게 깨달았어.
어떤 걸요?
꿈, 성취. 그걸 위해서 버티고 이겨내왔어. 연습생 시절을 버티고 뒤바뀐 컨셉을 소화해내고 그랬던 것처럼 이 일도 넘어서야 할 승부처럼 생각하려고 했어. 그치만 전혀 아니었어. 꿈을 꾸고 이루는 건 나야. 비러브드에 내 자신을 전부 넘긴 게 아니야. 비러브드를 통해서 내가 꿈을 이루려는 건데 이건 도전도 승부도 아니었어. 내 존엄을 뭉개는 일이었다고. 남들 노름에 날 판돈으로 올리려는 짓이었어.
그럼 탈주라는 건
그대로 거길 떠났어. 연락도 안 받았어. 며칠 동안.
Yu-Young's face was hidden behind her long hair.
이게 탈주, 해체, 그리고 소속사가 쓰러진 얘기야.
자길 지킨 것뿐인 얘기잖아요.
끝까지 그때까지 용기를 내진 못했어. 가족들, 멤버들, 누구한테도 얘기를 못했으니까. 누구라도 눈 딱 감고 다 건질 수 없었냐고 하면 정말 버틸 수 없을 것 같았으니까. 돌아다니는 무례한 소문에도 대처하지 못했지. 마음에 생긴 병을 견디느라 혼자 웅크리고만 있었어. 나 자신으로서는 그 일을 후회하지 않아. 그치만 입 다물고 있었던 건 아직 고통스러워.
Her downcast eyes slowly wandered about.
그런데 열애설 같은 개소리나 짓거리고요.
진실을 말 못할 거라고 생각해서 저러겠지. 여태 조용했으니 쭉 그럴 거라고.
Young slowly ran her hand through her long hair.
그 새끼들은 몰라. 내가 어떤 마음으로 거길 갔는지, 또 어떤 마음으로 거기서 도망쳤는지. 진실을 삼켜 병이 나고, 가족에게 기대 겨우 이겨내고, 무대로 돌아오고 싶어도 받아주질 않아서 오디션에 다시 서는. 아유,
Young quietly took a deep breath.
누나, 괜찮아요? 혹시
아니, 괜찮아. 이런 때 이 얘기를 하게 될 줄 몰랐어. 오래 안 사람들한테도 얘기한 적 없었는데.
언젠가는 할 이야기였어요. 어디서든 누구한테든.
그래, 생각지도 못한 때였지만.
Young felt traumatized and betrayed. Feeling helpless, she remained stagnant for a long time and received all kinds of mockery and cynicism. She went there as promised to meet a sugar daddy, but changed her mind and disappeared. She was falsely disgraced and suffered pain for a long time as a result. Yeah, that's a... I wish that was a piece of fiction. It's not far from a lot of true stories, especially in the music industry, and in acting. If you're ever a female actor, at least that's probably an incident like that has probably happened to you at least once, or if you're a female musician. And I say at least once. So, more likely, it's been multiple times. It's kind of sad where our industry is and where we are as a people, but neither here nor there at this point in time.
들어봐.
I think Ciel kept his composure even after the accident. He's a bit cynical, but he's always been like that.
맞아요.
He's passive, but he had his priorities straight. Young nodded and put her hand over her face.
근데
But he became a totally different person after he spilled his bag. I've never seen him so flustered.
그럴지도.
Given the circumstances, I can understand why he lost his cool, but
그치만
I think he owed us an explanation. He shouldn't have run away like that. We were getting agitated because he just kept saying he didn't know anything. I hope he regained his composure by now. Ciel has been passive but cynical, but he got agitated and ran away when the contents in his messenger bag were unveiled.
안 되겠어.
I can't believe this.
네.
Me neither. If they didn't fall before my eyes, I would still...
그러니까
Anyone would feel baffled if caught with these things. But running away like that won't solve anything.
맞아요.
We need to bring him out of there.
물론이야.
Of course. I agreed to some coverage, but not extensive background checks. Young answered quietly after lowering her gaze. They are not the same. They are totally different. I must go and see Ciel if I'm to hear his explanation. Strict entertainment.
난
It was the agency for Beloved. I could never forget it.
그러면
The fact that the CEO's business card was there means
아마
it's possible that he met the CEO in person. I wonder what they talked about. And I wonder what he thought of me after hearing those stories. Young grabbed her long hair. I don't want to imagine things, but I can't help myself.
괜찮아요?
You okay, Young?
그래.
Yeah, actually my head feels clearer. I just have to make sure that I hear from him. I will no longer accept any fabrications. Oh, it's largely positive from Young. Usually she has one or two bummer things to say.
혹시나 했는데.
He managed to obtain my medical certificate. I remember sending it to the agency when I left Beloved.
그런가요?
Do you think this came from the agency? Young carefully inspected the paper without giving an answer.
그래.
Depression, anxiety, insomnia, my good old friends. At times it was painful for not being able to part with them.
저기
That sounds like you're okay with parting with them now.
내 생각엔
They used to be part of me. They don't just disappear even if I force them out of me. Sometimes they will weigh me down, and sometimes they will just stand by my side.
난
That's how I got back on my feet. People only saw this piece of paper, know nothing about this. Yeah, it's very common in the Korean pop industry. American pop industry too. I don't want to let the American pop industry off the hook. The music industry is very, very toxic, much like Hollywood. But yeah, I think there's a lot more pressure in the Korean music industry than in the American music industry. It's cultural too, but singers are, at least from publishing artists, they're the publishing companies and the CEOs. They're not considered like valuable people. You know, that's just, you know, a singer is just like a, you know, one out of many singers. You know, so they don't consider them talented, even though, you know, a good singer is actually very, very hard to find. And even in that industry where there's a lot of song manipulation, you still have to have, you know, the ability to hold your notes mostly and perform and have a very, very grueling schedule. So I think they're the toughest people in the industry. You know, if you want to talk about anybody that's doing music, the Korean pop industry artists, they're the toughest. If they can survive, then, you know, they go through quite a lot. It's one of those dirty things that nobody ever really talks about. We just like idols as they are and don't want to think about how hard it is to get there and stay there. But it is very difficult. It's a shame that we don't let them be human beings too. You know, they also have to be perfect. Not only do they have to sing and dance and stay skinny and you know, not have relationships, but then they also have to be perfect too. And it's a real shame that we can't accept people with flaws and still enjoy themselves, still enjoy their music. You know.
그건
That tablet, isn't that expensive? It's a lower tier model ideal meant for business or education purposes.
글쎄요.
But I don't remember any staff members carrying the tablet. Young powdered her lips while staring at Yoon. Oh.
아니.
It's always hectic before going up on stage. They are always running around, so how are they supposed to check the tablet?
그러면
They might drop it on the floor.
그래.
Some of them carried broken tablets. I guess they didn't allow for replacements even if the devices had been damaged. But the question is why Ciel lied about the tablet. It's because it has incriminating evidence on it. Or at least embarrassing, you know. I mean, if he's such a big fanboy of Ina and he's like, has like tons and tons of pictures of her, that's got to be a little bit embarrassing.
그러고 보니
There's another thing that surprises me other than the fact that he became a totally different person. What he did to Ina before he ran away.
그래요.
He got angry and yelled at her,
그래.
as if to say, you can't do this to me. Considering the circumstances, it was supposed to be the other way around. Dion began to speak after pausing to recollect the moment.
그랬었는데
He said he tried to stop using, but without being seen.
왜였을까?
He was just saying it because he was angry, but it was so specific. His remark either carried a message or it was incomprehensible. What he said still lingers in my ears, bothering me. Before running away, Ciel was mad at Ina. He couldn't understand how she was treating him after all he had done to prevent her from becoming his scapegoat. I think it's also a weird thing about fans is that you know, they have such they felt such a ownership over an artist, and you know, while artists depend on fans, they're not a property of fans, you know. So, but I don't know. When you really, really admire somebody, then it's hard to break your emotions away from them, even though you should, because they're separate people that lead their own lives.
생각해봐.
Based on what he said, you'd think he was the victim. I can understand that he gave special treatment to Ina.
그래요.
He said she would have been destroyed if it weren't for him.
그럴까?
Was he talking about the time when Hyosung called us one by one to talk? When Ina left, Ciel immediately followed her.
네.
I was thinking the same thing.
그러면
So, what was it that he did without being seen at the time? The two of them fell silent for a moment. A chill went up the backs of their necks.
글쎄요.
Well, we need to hear it from him. My imagination's running wild. I better meet him as soon as possible. I wouldn't meet him. I'd just let him stew in there until the rescue came. I mean, we know the dressing room's safe, based on the standard ending. He also dug up random information about your band,
이건가?
but that information has already been shared to some extent. Did he think I was hiding something?
그럴지도.
He probably did. Goyhook continued after a brief pause.
나도
As for me, he investigated stuff about my university and accident.
혹시
If he investigated something about the university, was it about the scholarship?
그래.
Yes, and about the accident. You already know. It's horrible. He even discovered my uncle's phone number,
대체
but he wouldn't need that kind of information for the show. I thought he might have investigated it, but the information was too detailed. A background check clue. It contains the names of a student who lost his scholarship opportunity and his professor, the investigation results of Wai-Hung Lee's accident, and a relative's contact info. Well, I'm getting a lot of keywords. Is this next like investigation summary going to be really hard? I don't know.
Huh?
He went to see your concert? The date? It was in the middle of the audition period,
그땐
after the regional preliminaries. The concert was scheduled before we joined the audition.
혹시
You never told us about having been to the festival. I heard about it for the first time today. Goyhook's face was hidden behind a shadow. As for me, they called the school's general affairs department.
어?
Why would B-Stars call your school?
그게
They asked the school to validate the facts regarding the scholarship. I guess the show wanted to turn that into a discussion topic as well. A fax reply from, Baekwang University in 2018. It could not disclose the meeting notes for when scholarship recipients were chosen. Can see the detail using show image.
역시
He investigated Hyosung school assault scandal.
대체
When did he have the time?
어쨌든
It's pretty detailed. It contains information about when and how it happened, plus the interviews and the parents and classmates. It covers the information about the entire incident. Goyhook paused and licked his parched lips. Seung-young and Ciel, they both knew about these stories. I just watched and didn't even give an explanation.
왜
Why? Because this would have attracted more attention from the viewers when left as controversy?
아무래도
Only one person knows the answer at that moment.
그래.
Yes, and I wonder, did he want it or did the B-Stars want it?
대체
I wonder how they got a hold of all this.
그랬어.
They even hired background check agencies.
Hmm?
Does it have something to do with a private investigator?
아,
So... Quaihook frowned and closed his mouth.
응?
Quaihook, what's wrong?
그게
I also found something strange in my report. They even did a paternity test to see if he was real, my biological father.
Huh?
Oh, that's horrible.
몰랐어.
What's ironic is that I never gave them my consent for this. I wonder how this was possible. That's what creeps me out the most. Yep, I have to use this one. Okay. Before the end of the B-Stars preliminaries, a PI sent this result of Quaihook's DNA test, which was to confirm if Quaihook was the biological son of Byung-Yi Lee. Can't see the detail using the image view. Not a single keyword yet.
대체
That was uncalled for.
그래.
I almost had a heart attack.
그러니까
Ina also went nuts. I thought something horrible was going to happen. The two of them calmed themselves down.
아니었어.
We didn't even see everything in the bag. We don't know what else remains in it. I hope there are no more surprises, but who knows?
있잖아.
Getting surprised or going nuts only led to accidents. We need to quiet our nerves before going there.
맞아.
I know. We all need to be careful. You too, Jian. Ease your mind first. What are you talking about? Jian is the most calm person in the group. Well, Goihook's pretty calm. I mean, I don't know. He's had very little to lose, though.
그건
The photo of you and Ina. Did you read the memo? Do you think Ciel wrote it?
그게
I don't know what his handwriting is like.
그럴지도.
It was a printed photo, so there was no metadata. Although the original copy could be in digital format. We need to see the original copy to be sure. I wonder who took it, what they took it with, and how.
그래.
Yeah,
그럼
that should also tell us if the photo was taken by Ciel. We won't know anything until then.
그런데
However, the fact that they were in Ciel's bag, and Ciel's sneaky behavior so far, I don't want to jump to any conclusions, but... As in S. Young's case, the details of Ina's photo must be thoroughly examined to determine who really took the photos. I keep having my doubts.
그랬지.
He ran away after spilling the contents of his bag. He was under so much pressure, but
솔직히
he knew he was in trouble.
그랬었는데
He insisted that everything was a coincidence and a misunderstanding, that he didn't feel things were fair.
그치만
But everything has turned upside down after what just happened. No wonder our suspicions have grown out of control now. He can no longer make any excuses for his strange behavior. Quaihook took a deep breath. Running away wasn't his only option. But he's the one who chose to run away.
어쨌든
He ran away from the suspicions and controversy surrounding him. The contents in Ciel's bag were enough to cause suspicion. Ciel must have known that these could be controversial. In the end, he got himself in a jam. Yeah, to say the least.
알고 있었어.
They already knew a lot about Young,
애매한데.
but I can't figure out when they started to investigate her.
그런 거면
They knew everything, but they released them in pieces on purpose. Just like they produced the show by editing video footage. It's like they edited and displayed a person's life. This is too much to bear. I've seen too many things while buried in here. even things I didn't wish to see. Yeah, fishy behavior to be sure.
아니었어.
At first I thought it was a business card from my father's agency, but it wasn't. Strict Entertainment was Young's agency when she was a member of Beloved. Why would they want to hear from the CEO of a company that already went bankrupt? Probably as
내
an
생각은
item for the show.
맞아.
Apparently. They could have asked Young if they wanted to know about that period. Did they think that Young would try to hide something? Still, this is wrong.
사실은 아직 말하지 않은 게 있어.
Oh boy.
세일에 대해서?
아니, 내 어머니에 대한 거야.
Quaihook lowered his gaze.
남들은 아무렇게나 이야기할 테니까 너한테는 내 입으로 말하고 싶어서. 이상하지? 이런데
난 언제든 상관없어. 형이 하고 싶은 얘기면.
그래.
Quaihook smiled weakly.
내 어머니 있잖아. 스스로 목숨을 끊으셨어. 인슐린 과다 투여.
Yoon sadly looked at Quaihook.
10년이 넘는 투병이었어. 방치된 채 학대받으면서 버틴 시간이야. 마음에도 깊은 우울이 새겨진 건 알고 있었어. 그걸 난 어쩔 수 없다면서 외면해 왔던 거야. 마지막을 본 것도 나였어. 말라 빠진 몸, 흩어진 인슐린 주사들, 유서. 그 내용 지금까지도 기억해. 우린 서로 같은 생각을 하고 있었어. 자기 존재 때문에 상대가 불행해졌다는 생각. 난 단 한 번도 당신 탓을 한 적 없었는데, 곁에 계신 덕분에 계속 살아갈 힘을 낸 거였는데.
형,
더 일찍 그걸 말했어야 했는데 끝까지 날 오해하셨으면 어떡하지? 그런 생각이 마음을 짓눌렀어.
그런 오해는 하지 않으셨을 거라고 생각해.
그랬기만을 바래.
Quaihook nodded quietly.
모두가 외면하는 곳에서 우리 두 사람만 서로 기대며 살았는데 갑자기 길이 사라져버린 거야.
이겨내려고 베스타에 나온 거잖아. 아니야?
그런 거창한 생각까진. 다만 가슴 펴고 당당하게 살라고 하셨어. 난 그렇게 해보이고 싶었어. 그래서 여기로 흘러든 거야. 이런 상황에 와버렸고.
이 상황이 우리 탓이야? 우리가 무대를 무너뜨린 것도 아니잖아. 지금 벌어지는 일들도 곧 끝날 거야.
Quaihook slowly nodded.
그래. 얼마 남지 않았어. 의지하면서 여길 나가면 돼. 그럼 다시 한번 시작할 수 있을 거야.
After a lengthy battle with diabetes, Quaihook's depressed mother killed herself by overdosing on insulin. Quaihook never fully recovered. His mother committed suicide. She had suffered from a disease for a long time and purposely overdosed on insulin. It was Quaihook who first found her.
그럴 거야.
Obtaining documents about someone else's diagnosis is illegal.
그거 있잖아.
I don't understand why they would try to dig this far.
그치만
What's clear is that they never hesitated to use any means necessary. I said I would get on stage, but I never agreed to any of this. I'm sure none of the contestants did.
맞아.
When these activities get exposed, it'll lead straight to a big scandal. Like you said, someone will have to take legal responsibility. Dude, that person is already... Right, she's gone. Still, this stuff won't go away. Don't ask that question. Huh?
알고 있었어.
They already knew a lot about you, young.
애매한데.
But I can't figure out when they started to investigate her, though.
그런 거면
They knew everything, but they released them. Oh, wait. I don't think I was supposed to skip this one. That's right. Whoops.
그랬나?
Tablets were provided to the main staff members.
혹시
Have you seen him carrying it?
아니야.
Not really. More importantly, why did he hide the tablet if it was for work?
그거 있잖아.
From what I've heard, you can't make calls with it.
그럼
That's another reason why there's no need for him to hide it. He could have just told us that he had the tablet, but that he couldn't make calls with it. He kept silent about it, and it resulted in more doubts. And we want to know why.
솔직히
He was totally different. He's sensitive, but he never exploded.
그랬었지.
Took off immediately, so I couldn't even talk to him.
막연해.
I don't think we were able to have a proper conversation. I don't think Ciel was friendly to us from the beginning.
어?
From the beginning? Is that how you felt? Of course, Ina was an exception. I guess he was interested in no one but Ina.
아마도
Maybe he was only interested in Ina.
아닐 거야.
He wouldn't have cared if he had no interest. But he got emotional with Husing though. There is a clear difference between disinterest and dislike.
만약에
I might be speculating, but maybe it was a mixture of jealousy and envy.
그래?
About what?
그건
About B-Stars. Ciel was eliminated during the preliminaries in the past season of B-Stars. He evaluated and even mocked contestants without revealing his history.
뭐랄까.
Ciel had a side we knew about him as a staff member and another side of him that was unknown to us. I can no longer tell which is his true nature. He's not really a great person.
그런 것 같아.
I think he was cynical. It's like he was feeling frustrated when he was with us.
그러니까
Yeah, as if he always felt like we didn't know anything.
어쩌면
Maybe he looked down on us. Koihook frowned.
솔직히
After seeing the contents of this bag, I think I know a little bit more about his attitude towards us. You can look fancy on the stage, but still, I know what you really are.
그런 거면
I guess that's why he was even more perplexed when he spilled his bag.
Huh?
Then do you think Ciel showed his true colors when he ran away?
그래.
If you're asking me, yes. I think that's when we all realized our true colors.
그랬지.
He seemed to have flipped out. He said he supported us behind our backs without us ever knowing. Supported Ina to be more specific.
그랬어.
He also mentioned Hyosung.
그래.
That she would have been destroyed if it weren't for him. Hwahyuk spoke after a little pause.
혹시
Is he talking about Hyosung's threats after the accident? He implied that he was the one who stopped Hyosung.
Huh?
Stopped him how? I can't figure that out at the moment. We're probably overthinking. Yes, I hope I was just overthinking. They conducted extensive investigations into lots of different matters. If you look at the names, it's not just guesswork. Hwahyuk bit his lower lip and checked the documents repeatedly.
괜찮아?
Are you alright, Hwahyuk?
솔직히
I'm a little dizzy, to be honest. He had all this info, but he pretended to know nothing about it.
대체
I wonder to what extent he shared this information. And what do you think he said to people that were mentioned in this report?
있잖아.
We can only guess. But now it's time to get some answers from him.
그게
Do you think that's possible? He's been keeping quiet about the whole thing, and he might continue to do so.
대체
What were they up to?
몰랐어.
I don't know. The school didn't provide them with the answers they wanted.
아무래도
Of course not. What school would provide information just because someone asked for it?
그건
That's true, but too many people are in trouble because of me.
괜찮아.
Hwahyuk, don't think too deeply. If you did something wrong, go out and apologize.
그렇지.
I know. I was telling the truth. Hwahyuk gently massaged the back of his neck. I wonder what they did with other contestants. How far do you think they went to pry into their private lives?
어떻게
How is this even possible? Paternity test and family relations? That's crossing over the line.
그렇다면
I wonder what they would have done if the test results came out as negative. Would they have aired that too? Hwahyuk's face was hidden behind a shadow,
대체
but that would have required a hair or a fingernail. How on earth?
어떻게
I can't even imagine. Well, we shouldn't. We just disclose everything after we get out of here.
무리하지 마.
Leon, don't worry about me. I'm neither angry nor hurt. I'm just taken aback and sad.
무리야.
We won't get anywhere concerning the metadata of the photos. We'll have to talk to the person who actually took the photos.
그럴까?
Do you think it was Ciel?
글쎄.
If he says he took them, that he'll have lots of explaining to do. I don't think he'll admit it easily. I guess
그런가?
if he had, we'd already have our explanation. Dean clicked his tongue and shook his head. We need to think about what to ask and what not to ask. We won't be able to ask all the questions and get answers for them.
안 되겠어.
What came out of his bag? We can't just let him slip away.
맞아.
Ciel seemed to know about it. Everyone was shocked, but we can't leave him there.
그래야겠지.
You're right. We'll have to wait until he calms down. Let's see. The emotion Dean felt from Ciel was fear of contents being exposed.
그게
I think he was scared after the contents of his bag were exposed. And that's why he was getting angry.
나도야.
To be honest, I had a similar feeling.
그래.
Yes, he was feeling scared after spilling his bag. So I guess I wasn't the only one.
솔직히
It's true he was being pressed into a corner. And he ran away when his bag became a problem. His impatience was clearly caused by fear. Ciel ran away because he feared the contents of his messenger bag would be exposed, not because he felt victimized. Got our first keyword, wow. Ina must have all the rest of them, I guess.
한도윤,
You got picked clean too, huh?
아니야?
Do you think he would post your band history on the B-Stars website? Ina closed her mouth and frowned.
대체
I wonder when he gathered all this info about me. Do you think B-Stars looks for staff with private investigation experience when they're hiring? If I somehow forget about myself, I should check his data. Ina shook the documents before her eyes. It contains all the information about the people I know, where they live, and what is odd about them. Is he planning on writing my biography? The background check clue. It contains the dance crew's studio address, its leader contact number, nearby schools, application form address, and comments about some mail.
애매한데.
I'm sure he didn't go to the concert to get a better understanding of your band. Why on earth did he go there? Well, I guess I'm asking the wrong person. Ina straightened herself up.
글쎄.
I don't know. We sang a couple of songs and came down.
설마
He was probably trying to dig up some dirt by interacting with the staff. Now that I think about it, it seems that all his actions were based on his intention. Do I sound strange to you? If I think about what just happened, it makes me go crazy too.
그렇다니까.
You're right. You need to make him talk, and that's the only way. If this continues, I'll just go nuts. Let's quickly wrap things up and get him out of there.
이야.
Hyesung. What he did was awesome. If I read it right, he beat up the son of a 3-time legislator. He should have checked about the kid's parents first. Ina clicked her tongue disappointedly.
내 참.
Even if he got his ass kicked, it would have been the end of him. He was just reckless from the beginning to the very end. Ina fell silent after finishing her remark.
괜찮아?
Ina, are you okay?
아니?
No, I'm not. I feel strange. It's going to be even stranger if I think about him after getting out of here.
뭐야 진짜?
Hyesung, despite all his fancy talk about weapons and whatnot, he has also been exposed. It would be easier to steal a court order than collect all this crap. Did he have an obsession with collecting things? Why on earth did he gather all this nonsense? Ina fiddled with a few envelopes while biting her lip.
어?
What's that? Curious? This stuff is ridiculous. Looks like he found my mom's house. Ina unfolded the envelopes.
그게
It's some mail that was sent to my mom's house. He's been so diligent as to steal these things. Some mail, brought from an address in Busan in summer of 2018, seemed to be sent to 3 different people. Can't see the detail using show images. Stealing the mail, too. Jeez. I mean, it's a federal crime here. I don't know what it is in Korea, but or South Korea, but it's a pretty big deal here.
이야.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. What? Lost the phone? No other devices?
아니야?
He's such a liar, isn't he?
그랬어.
He was so ambivalent when we checked the belongings with Hyesung. I guess this is why.
당연하지.
Of course. I shouldn't have stepped in. We should have checked everything he had. Ina took a deep breath.
하여튼
Anyhow, we'll be able to figure out why he lied to us in no time. Of course, there was a reason why he was carrying it, as if it were a precious treasure. Ciel hid his tablet in his messenger bag and said that he had no other devices than the lost cell phone.
그거는
I remember when. The day I was with you because we got off together.
그래.
Yeah, I can tell by looking at the clothes.
내 참.
What's so special about this and that he take a picture? More than friends, after writing down this kind of crap?
그게
And this is... Well, that came out naturally.
아니 잠깐.
Because I didn't know someone was taking my picture back then. Anyway, that's not important right now. When on earth did he take all these photos? Ina spoke disappointedly while breathing uncomfortably. Seung-young promised me a complete change, but the actual role given was to play the snobby troll. It wasn't agreed on?
그치만
After accepting the promise, it gradually turned into a demand. Seung-young promised her some kind of change, but she was give the role of an arrogant troublemaker. The promise became pressure. Maybe it was already inside of me. You know what I'm like when I get mad.
어쨌든
I'm kinda lost since everything's so mixed up. Anyhow, Ina put aside the photos in front of her. I need to hear why he's been digging up dirt behind our backs. Photos of Ina's life, both on and off the stage around the time of B-Star's finals. Notes below seem to indicate where the photos were taken. Can't see the detail using show image.
뭐
He kept blaming things on Seung-young, as if he had nothing to do with any of this. Come to think of it, he worked with her,
아니었어.
but they didn't look close. Who knows what they were like when we couldn't see them? Dion spoke to Ina, who was breathing heavily out of anger.
혹시
What came out of the bag? Do you think Ciel's responsible?
당연하지.
If he isn't, why would he carry it with him at all times? If he isn't, he should have given us an explanation.
아니야?
If he just lashes out at me and runs away like that, how are we supposed to figure out the extent of his involvement? No need to waste our time. Let's hurry up and talk to him. A number of background check documents were found in Ciel's messenger bag. It was unknown how actively he engaged in the background checks. Yeah, it's just weird that he's always carrying that stuff with him. I mean, that stuff would like go in a locker or, you know, a safe or something. Yeah. Not just walk around with a bunch of incriminating evidence, you know. Not a normal person would do that, at least.
진짜.
Did he learn this from S. Young?
들어봐봐.
Look, it has the name and address of the cafe. Looks like he's been acting up with this in mind. Ina tapped her watch screen.
내 참.
He should have at least bought a cup of coffee after he found the address.
알잖아.
That sounds unlikely.
그러니까
Of course, he just wrote things down, sneaking around. All these records reek of cowardice. I don't like it. Why would he investigate Yu Young's family business when she joined the audition just to sing? Very true. It was Yu Young's agency. I heard it closed down after the incident. Is that why the business card looks so old?
그런 것 같아.
I think so. I'm not sure how he got a hold of it. Ina stared into the distance while biting her lip.
대체
It's not like any of these guys would say something positive. I guess the show was aiming for some corny comments. I don't know about Beloved, but I'm sure Yu Young isn't fond of her memory about the CEO. God, we have so many words. When it comes to do the evaluation, I mean, I don't even know how I'm going to parse through all that if we have all those choices available.
잠깐만.
It's a medical record. It's a serious crime. Now I can understand what Yu Young has been through.
아니었어.
It was no fake illness or whatever those fools are blabbering on about out there.
그치만
But it's not like they asked for the records in order to create a character.
대체
Why did this come out of Ciel's bag?
말이 돼?
Does this even make sense?
아니.
No, not at all.
그래.
We must hold them responsible, including everyone, including whoever gave the order and whoever carried out the dirty work. Ina rested the side of her head on one hand. But the one who gave the order is already gone. Okay, we are getting one with her.
알고도 죄 짓는 확신범은 반성하지 않아. 난 누구보다도 그걸 잘 알아.
Ina bit her lip hard until it turned pale.
그 사람이 알려준 유일한 교훈이야.
그 사람이라면
알면서 그래? 우리 엄마 전 남편 유인철 수감자. 사기를 얼마나 쳤는지 그 사람 잠수 탄 동안 동네 사람 다 쳐들어오더라. 머리채 잡힐 때는 코빼기도 안 보이다가 다 빠지니까 슥 들어오대. 운이 나빴대. 당한 놈이 잘못이래. 외국으로 떴다가 기반 잡고 다시 들어온다대.
외국? 미랑 하려고 했단 말이야?
그래. 저 혼자서 톡 낀다고. 끝까지 자기 잘못했단 얘긴 한마디도 없이. 엄마 보고 자기 짐싸라길래 내가 뜯어 말렸지. 귀싸대기 서너 대 맞고 체일 때까지.
때렸단 말이야? 아버지가?
Ina clicked her tongue after staring at Duyun for a moment.
딱히 드문 일도 아니었어. 필용인데 잘못 나온 내가 문제였지.
Ina put her hands together on her jacket and fiddled with her fingers.
피해자. 우리 집 현관에서 목을 매단 사람도 있었어. 직접 칼만 안 들었지. 살인자나 마찬가지였다고. 그런데 운타령하면서 사과 하나 없이 도망가서 기회를 노리겠대. 경찰한테 자기 얘긴 말라면서.
끝까지 자기만 생각했던 거구나.
Ina lowered her hands and stared at Duyun.
그래서 했어.
했더니 뭘?
신고. 내가 경찰에 신고했어. 그 사람 그래서 잡혀간 거야. 엄마는 정신 못 차리고 배움까지 갔지만 난 아니거든. 사기꾼의 살인자가 와 있다고 신고했어. 가방 싸서 톡 끼다가 집 앞에서 딱 걸렸지.
넌 괜찮았어?
나? 내가 얼마나 신났는데. 창문에 딱 서서 웃으면서 봤다니까.
Ina smiled, looking nervous.
끌려가면서 이쪽 보는데 눈이 그때 그 눈 아직도 잊을 수가 없다니까.
Duyun spoke carefully.
벗어날 수 있어서 다행이야.
웃긴 게 아주 벗어나진 못했어. 엄마 갈궈서 이혼시키고 이름 바꾼 다음에 이사도 여러 번 다녔거든. 엄마가 딴 지역은 못 간다 그래서 부산만 빙빙 돌았지만 그때마다 어떻게 알고 편지가 오는 거야. 어떤 때는 사과하고 어떤 때는 죽여버린다고 하고.
주소를 어떻게 알았대?
반성 중이고 출소에 재결합할 거라고 씨부리면 알려주나 봐. 어이가 없지. 이사 가면 얼마 지나서 또 편지가 와. 난 편지 정말 질색이야. 특히 발신자 없는 편지.
그래서 네가 그렇게...
굳이 이유 안 갖다 붙여도 누구나 별로일걸. 다만 과거를 떠올리게 되는 건 싫어. 난 약했어. 맥없이 쳐맞기만 했어. 그 사람 빵에 보낸 거 내가 처음으로 이긴 거야. 그날 이후로 난 더 변하기 위해서 발버둥쳐왔어.
Even after Ina informed the police and he went to jail, her father continued to contact her and her mother. His letters and stalking disturbed her. She was a victim of domestic violence and reported her father for fraud and murder to have him arrested. She changed her name and appearance and moved several times, but his letters kept finding her to terrify her. Most of the functions worked except for the phone app. If Young said it, it must be accurate.
그래도
But there's still a possibility.
어?
What possibility?
진짜야?
Did you get a hunch when you saw the tablet? He could be the one who attacked Yusung. Relationship between the tablet and him. I'll say that's far-fetched.
있잖아.
You could be overthinking. You can't even make a phone call with it.
됐어.
You lack imagination. What if Messenger works? He could use that to contact Yusung, or he could have used Phater.
아니야?
Calling him isn't the only way. Ina stood in front of Jiyun.
들어봐봐.
This is how I see it. He uses the tablet to contact Yusung. He lures Yusung into the restroom by using something unfavorable to Yusung as bait. And in the restroom, he conducts his business.
그러면
But if we change the premise that he had no way of contacting Yusung, there wasn't when we didn't know about the tablet.
그렇잖아?
But now there is. We can figure this out as soon as we secure that tablet. The reason he ran away right after he was caught with the tablet, that must mean something. Ciel might have used this tablet to contact Yusung. There's a possibility that he lured Yusung to come to the restroom to kill him. I mean, she makes a good point. I can make calls with my tablet, and it doesn't have a phone app. I mean, it's the wonders of internet phone, you know? But it seems like the characters are fairly ignorant of technology, except for Yu Young, so I guess it makes sense that everybody else besides her would not really know how to do stuff. Although Ina just made up a good point, so. Must have lured Hyusung with something.
그럴까?
Are you saying he used the tablet to call out Hyusung or somehow?
맞았어.
Now we're talking. If it can make calls, that'd be the end of the story. But even if it doesn't, there's still a possibility. Ina stood in front of Duyun.
들어봐봐.
It's all the same. All that, we still only got 2 words. His precious tablet has been exposed. Who cares about being polite, huh?
그래?
You were expecting he'd flip out?
말이 돼?
Of course not. I was shocked too. I thought he might come clean when he spilled his bag. Ina gently kicked the floor with the tip of her shoe.
전혀.
But no, sir. He got angry and took off, and what came out of his bag was beyond our imagination. It's like he's not even aware of his situation right now. That's not going to make his things disappear from his bag. Do you remember what he said before he ran away? He said that I would have been eliminated already by Hyusung if he didn't help. And that he tried to stop Hyusung from behind the scenes. Ina raised her head after mumbling something to herself.
혹시
Could it be...
예를 들어
When he said I would have been destroyed, he was referring to Hyusung's threats to disclose something? And when he said he tried to stop him without being seen, that meant He made Hyosung... calm him down and side with him. Made Hyosung quiet forever.
Huh?
He made Hyosung keep quiet. That way all the threats and disclosures would be gone. But later I pushed him into a corner. He might have showed his true intentions without even realizing it. I never asked him to do anything for me, but he thinks it's unfair. Hina quietly continued while staring off into the distance.
들어봐봐.
Hyosung wasn't aware, but his aces were prepared by Ciel. Of course the aces could have destroyed me. And because Ciel knew about this, he made the move ahead of Hyosung.
그래.
How about it? Do you think it's my imagination running wild? I think this might be true. What is it that he did for Ina? What Hyosung was going to disclose was related to Ina, so Ciel might have taken necessary measures. I guess someone did lose the scholarship. I dropped out of school, so I don't know much about this.
그치만
But I can't help but wonder why Goikuk took the scholarship when his family had all the money in the world. Feeling uncomfortable, Ina rested her chin on her hand. Aside from the accident, why would he look for his relatives' contact info?
혹시
Maybe they were digging to find something out of the family members too. Ina frowned.
그럴싸해.
That may be the case. B-Stars is a bittersweet business. The loop of endless ups and downs. But do they really have to pry into people's private lives just for the sake of the show?
뭐야 진짜?
Looks like Ciel was pulling all kinds of tricks. He even faxed the school. Maybe he should have joined an investigative journalism program. If they did a program like Unsolved Mysteries, they probably would have won an award. Ina put her hands on her waist. He should have just remained with the production crew.
아마도
Looks like the school didn't give him a chance.
뭐?
Maybe something was really bothering him. I think Goikuk was wrong about the scholarship, to be honest. Still, why would he carry something like this? Yeah, that's the thing. Just carrying it around with you is weird. Maybe finding the information isn't necessarily weird if that's his job. But just walking around with it, I don't know.
아니 잠깐.
That's horrible. They made such a big fuss about having the son of Mr. Lee in the show, but behind the scenes they did a paternity test. Is it even possible to do that when they're not related to him?
틀렸어.
Not normally.
그러면
That means they used an abnormal method, right?
그래.
Yes, it was abnormal indeed. Ina frowned and mumbled something under her breath. They had been investigating all kinds of nonsense.
내 말이.
Exactly. We're not here for an FBI interview, but an audition. They were planning on investigating every single relative. Why on earth would they go through all this trouble? Is it important if the photos were taken by him or not? What if the photos and documents were taken and gathered by someone else? Does that make the problems go away? The documents, photos, and background check report. The fact that he carried them with him was the problem.
결국
And he didn't give us any explanation. Ina leaned her body forward without even realizing it.
그러니까
That's the biggest problem. It's all a coincidence. They were gathered by someone else and I didn't know anything. That's not going to end this. Metadata? Whose camera? B-Stars did it? An individual did it? Blah, blah, blah. That can't be the reason. We can worry about them later.
당연하지.
No wonder. He ran away because he knew he was in trouble. He was being pressed into a corner even before that, but the decisive moment was when he spilled his bag.
그랬지.
We didn't even have time to stop him.
그러니까
He lashed out at us and ran away immediately. He knew he was faced with a serious problem. We don't even have to talk about this.
당연하지.
I knew he would investigate my crew.
혹시
They didn't tell you anything?
볼 것도 없어.
They probably didn't want me to worry. That's how they play it. They know I hate talking about my past. And they let me write down their address on the application form. They must be good people.
맞아.
They are my family. Ina tossed her hair back and fell silent. So he bothered my crew members. I can understand that. But why did he investigate the school I went to? And what's this about mail? That means he found my mom's house.
이야.
What is he, a hoarder? I'm just glad he didn't take a door or window from my house. So much for writing down my crew's address.
아니야?
Digging up my home address and stealing mail? How dramatic is that? The envelopes in Ina's hands crumpled. We shouldn't let this pass.
당연하지.
Of course, we'll pick him clean. They'll have to explain what's so unfair. I need to hear it from him. No. That's the first thing that I got nothing from Ina. She's actually been super helpful for this session.
대체?
That was the most disappointing part. I can't trust him anymore.
아니야.
How can he not know that?
해보자.
We'll meet him and ask him. As to why he didn't tell us the truth. Ina tapped Yoon on the shoulder.
그렇다면
Okay, you talk to him and see what he has to say. I'll check his bag inside and out. Then he'll tell us the truth. He might try to resist us.
야,
Even now, there are 3 of us. Are you going to use force?
당연하지.
How else are we going to make him show it to us? We need to beat the crap out of him first. Like I said, I like Ina. Shouldn't take any shit. I mean, at least with Ina, you know exactly how she feels. Yu Young, she's like so insular and shy. You have to really pry anything out of her. Although that's not like necessarily a bad personality trait. It just makes it more confusing if you're talking to somebody and you're not really sure what they're thinking or what their opinion is.
설마
I've studied them repeatedly, but they're all similar. What about the photos?
한도윤.
Remember how my photos topped the trending chart? I didn't even know that someone was taking my photo and they were uploaded by someone else's account. Oh, it was controversial. Ina wiped the sweat off her forehead.
그렇다니까.
Yes, they accused me of using a Smurf account to post it. They accused me of uploading my own photos to try to go viral.
그런
But that happened often. I added a comment on the account used for uploading the photos, and that created more controversy. Come to think of it, Ciel might be the owner of that account. Ina used to be in the limelight by her personal photos posted on others' accounts. Some suspected that she used other accounts. Yeah, well, I have not got a lot of keywords so far.
잠깐.
Wait, when Hyesung wanted to talk to us, he called us out one by one and blabbered on about a weapon and disclosing something, right?
그랬었지.
He did.
그게
What if he got that weapon from the documents in Ciel's bag? Ina licked her parched lips and continued. We said the same thing back then. He must be so confident that he got information from Singyung. Just in time, we found those from the staff member's bag,
그렇다면
which means he probably knew that what Hyesung was talking about. Oh. Probably.
그럴지도.
That's plausible. He also said he had a hunch from the get-go.
그래.
You remembered. That's pretty obvious, right? If Hyosung started running his mouth, his source would have come out too. If it came to that, Ciel would have fallen into a more difficult position earlier than when he expected. Yoon barely managed to open his mouth.
그게
Are you saying that's the motive? He would have been caught somehow in the end. In that case, he could avoid getting caught if one person became quiet. Didn't Ciel know that what Hissing was going to reveal? The details might have endangered Ciel himself.
내 참.
Everything's suspicious now. Someone posting photos that I'm not even aware of. Someone else adding or deleting friends into my account. Letters with no name on them. Ciel had nothing to do with them? Maybe he has everything to do with them.
있잖아.
We should think about it after hearing his side of the story. Hina turned around to face Yoon with a worried look on her face.
한도윤,
Yoon, think about it. Why just me? Why just me after gathering all that extensive data? Hina asked if Yoon thinks Ciel did that only to her. Yeah, probably. I agree for now. Most of the documents that came out of his bag, including the photos, were related to you.
말이 돼?
That is, the documents we found so far. Remember that we haven't seen everything yet. We might be able to figure out all the things he did behind the scenes. You need to get a hold of yourself. I need to get a hold of my sanity first. Everything inside my head is a total mess. He was annoying at times, but I trusted him. This is too big of a betrayal. The strange incidents happening around Ina may have been caused by Ciel. Had he done anything to the others? I mean, there's information about everybody in there. But most of it is about her. Regardless.
아닌가?
Maybe not. The documents we saw were about power.
그렇잖아?
Yes, we didn't even see the rest.
그게
He packed his bag and left.
하여튼
If we go and see what's inside the bag, we might be able to figure out all the things he did behind the scenes. The problem is that he could be destroying the evidence right now. Ina put her hands on her knees and leaned forward. A drop of sweat fell from her forehead. He was annoying times, but I trusted him. Too big of a betrayal. Yeah. I still need more keywords, Ina. We got one question left. We didn't see the rest of his stuff in the bag. He took the rest with him. That bag might contain something that's related to Ciel.
그거는
Something that might hurt him more than us.
그럴까?
Are you sure?
들어봐봐.
Think about it. He dropped everything but took the bag with him. Ina nervously rolled her eyes.
어쨌든
We better go before it's too late. He could hide somewhere and destroy all the evidence. Then it'll be too late. Alright, I must have to do follow-up questions with everybody else. Let's get the rest of the words. Oh yeah, a lot came out of that. Was it 3 things that we couldn't talk about? Let's see. Yeah, I definitely couldn't talk about that. Aside from the professor's contact info, he also found the guy who lost the scholarship. If the show had cajoled this guy, they would have been able to create a very negative issue. Although S. Young was quick to utilize it before they did. This seems to be the starting point of the scholarship episode mentioned by S. Young. How did he find the guy who lost the scholarship?
그건
He probably acquired the information from the school staff. But you can't acquire something like that through normal means, though. But they've been holding onto it without leaking it. Looks like they used all means necessary to gather information and took a wait-and-see attitude. Maybe they kept it as an insurance policy.
대체
He even asked the school directly. He was surprisingly careless.
그러고 보니
Usually the school posts the qualifications for scholarships. There was no need for him to ask this question since it was no longer valid. Dean raised his head after a brief pause.
혹시
Could it be that he was trying to establish the story where he asked the question but the answer wasn't given? This way it will sound like there's something fishy about this whole thing.
그럴까?
That might be true.
그렇구나.
He can make a fuss about it as if he did a favor for Goyhook. If this was his intention, he's an evil person. I mean, he seems pretty evil.
도대체
How did he manage to do a paternity test on someone else? Forget the method. It just gives you the creeps that anyone would come up with something like this. Goyhook said Mr. Lee was his father, so why did they have to investigate this?
이거
This is way beyond validating information. This has to do more with distrust. Hee-young held herself with one arm and shuddered.
대체
Why on earth would they do something like this? B-stars, I don't really know what Ciel was thinking. People are really curious about this? Seriously? Well, fans are curious about everything. You know, for good and bad.
아직이야.
Maybe this isn't that important at the moment. There's a different reason why we're having this conversation here. We will also need to reveal things like the metadata of the photo,
그치만
but not now though. Well, we know who took the photo only by checking for that. That's what's more important than this. I don't know.
그건
But that will tell us who actually took the photo.
아니지.
You didn't understand what I said.
들어봐.
It doesn't matter whose it is, whether it's a photo or document. It came out of Ciel's bag, so he must have known.
근데
By the way, did we check everything that was in Ciel's bag?
아니요.
No, we only checked some of the things.
그래.
Yeah, Ciel packed everything and left.
문제는 그거야.
This is how much we found so far.
혹시
Maybe there's something else in his bag.
그래.
Yes. Don't you want to know what else is in there? I can't even imagine anymore. Aside from the photos, there was a notebook he had always carried and a bunch of papers. More things might be hidden. I mean, there's definitely something hidden. No doubt about that. Just what is hidden, I guess, is a different story.
저기
What's more important?
아무래도
I think I missed the point.
들어봐.
This is what I think. Oh, okay, that's normal.
아마
He ran because he knew. Things weren't looking up and he got caught while he was being pressed into a corner.
아무래도
He wasn't supposed to get caught with them. So it's strange why he would carry them around. Young raised her hand and held them together.
내 생각엔
When it's urgent, it's faster to grab things with your hand. He was meticulous and always kept taking notes, right? More importantly, he would have expected the stage to collapse.
결국
And look where it got us. He should know running away can't be a solution.
역시
It looks like he was somehow trying to pry into Ina's past that hadn't been previously revealed. He investigated everything, including the dance crews, schools around her home, and her friends.
결국
So how much does he know?
글쎄요.
He probably came out with nothing. Even up until now, her past has never been discussed. Young nodded.
내 생각엔
They would have discussed it already if there was something. Or they might bring it up if it became necessary. But it's no longer an ace in the hole once it's on the table, right? The scariest weapon is the hidden one you're threatened with. But because it makes you imagine its identity and power.
아무래도
He brought mail, which means
그러면
it means he visited Ina's home.
그렇지.
And I'm guessing he didn't ask her mom for permission when he took the mail.
네.
If he did, he would have brought something that had some significance. Yoon quietly put her hand on her forehead.
도대체
What is he, a spy? No matter how petty, this is still a crime. Why didn't he just ask her if he had questions? Before everything else, I'm worried about Ina. She must be in shock.
만약에
Do you think he forgot about the tablet?
그땐
He opened his bag, and when he first took out his notebook in front of me. So, even if he forgot about it, he must have seen it when he opened the bag, right?
혹시나 했는데
Then I guess he did hide it. Yoon closed her eyes and let out a sigh. But I can't help but wonder why. It's pretty clear now that he ran away like that. We could make things worse while trying to resolve the issue. For now, let's focus on what we can do.
역시
These are also Ina's snapshots. Some were taken by the stage and some were from other places. You can check the memo to see where the photo was taken. The memo was written with a pen after the photo was printed out. I guess the staff members could also carry the printed photos for personal reasons.
그치만
But after the earlier incident, I'm having second thoughts.
이거면
This also looks like a document with a certain purpose.
그러니까
Exactly. And it bothers me that most of them are photos of Ina. I wonder how far he went while following and investigating her. Oh, I'm sure he knows what her panties smell like. Most likely what they feel like, too.
모르겠어.
I'm curious as to how far he got himself involved.
아니에요.
I don't think it's about just holding onto someone else's stuff.
아니야.
That won't work. The look on his face when the bag was mentioned and the decisive fact that he ran away. Just these two can be adequate reasons why he cannot move on after blaming someone else. Young stared at the central corridor on the other side. Her weary eyes came back after wandering about the surroundings.
일단은
We need to get him out of there before things become more dangerous.
맞아요.
Whatever it is, we'll have to meet him to hear it. Now that it happened, I must hear it. It doesn't have to be a complete explanation, but I need some comprehensible answer.
그때
She must have been frustrated since she didn't do it.
알아.
I know because I've been hanging out with Ina ever since the finals.
저기
Some say she asked someone else to do it.
아니야.
Nope, unless someone took the photo and uploaded it without telling her about it. She never resorted to expediency as they claim.
그럴지도.
I guess, why would she pretend it wasn't her? You get the best response when you take the photo and upload it yourself. Young nodded briskly.
그건
They are just waiting for her to make a mistake. Ina might crash and burn, but she will always take things head on. The fisher and fish, they both have it wrong.
아무래도
The results of the investigation were extensive. We might be able to figure out what Hyosung had in store for us. Whether it was a threat or to disclose something.
글쎄요.
I don't think Hyosung was capable of digging up dirt by himself. I would say it was something that was leaked to B-stars.
그러면
Then he must have also figured out the source of information. What did Hyosung realize after background checks by B-stars?
그럼
He probably realized that there have been background checks too.
분명해.
Of course. In the process, he naturally acquired a weapon against B-stars as well. Young slowly opened her mouth after some pondering.
그건
It was also Ciel's weakness. If Ina found out about it, he would have degenerated into becoming a stalker.
예를 들어서
That's probably why he immediately followed Ina. Aside from carrying out the role of the staff, he was on the verge of falling into his own predicament when S. Young was babbling on about killing the contestant. With that, Young covered her mouth with her hand. Young, we should go any further with this.
네.
Couldn't agree more. I don't think we should have a conclusion in mind. Yes, this ends here. Sensing the Hyosung would expose him, Ciel silenced him by murdering him. He probably wanted people to believe that S. Young had killed him. Round 2 with you, man.
어떻게?
They investigated Ina's dance crew as well.
그런 것 같아.
They even checked the schools around her home.
그런 거면
Didn't B-stars know about her past?
아마도
There must be a reason why it wasn't mentioned. If it's about Ina, it's possible Ciel personally gathered the data. The photos that came out of his notebook were only related to Ina. Guaihook raised his head and stared at Dune.
설마
Maybe Ina's right. Prying into people's private lives and stalking. These were never allowed. We need to call for their explanation, either from here or after getting out of here. Not really. Oh boy, I'm so tired.
왜?
Stealing other people's mail is a federal crime. If this gets out, Ciel will have to take responsibility. Guaihook gently pulled his hand, put his hand on his chin.
어쩌면
It's definitely something a stalker would do.
그런
And let's not think too deeply. We are only speculating at the moment. I mean, he is pretty much a stalker. Ciel was hiding his tablet.
그랬었는데
He said he lost his phone and there were no other devices. He also told me that he'd been using his notebook to write things down,
그리고
but in his bag. Dune let out a groan. He ran away after spilling his bag. He didn't give us any explanation. The tablet contained something he wanted to hide.
아마도
Maybe he was afraid of everything. Maybe he was afraid of revealing the contents of the tablet. Considering the things that came out of his bag, it's possible that the tablet contained problematic things.
그러니까
There's no other way to see it.
대체
I wonder what was on the tablet that would make him want to run away. Whitehook paused to stare at the other side of the stage. For now, we can only imagine.
결국
We'll find out eventually. Why he lied and what's on the tablet. He ran away when he got caught hiding his tablet. Isn't it because there was something controversial in his bag? Okay, so technically we have enough to move on, but let's make sure we ask all the questions because there may be other keywords we use for investigation.
뭐랄까
Time and location seem different too.
이거면
These photos were taken throughout the show. There's also a photo of the stage exterior.
잠깐만.
Were they snapshots different from photos taken by other people?
그럴지도.
Good point. They silently flipped the photos. We would have discussed the details with Ina,
그치만
but she might get stressed out just by looking at them. Maybe we shouldn't agitate her. Let's be more careful.
막연해.
We can only guess since he's not saying anything. What's clear is that the documents came out of Ciel's bag. And think about his suspicious whereabouts.
아마
It's only natural for us to believe that he's deeply involved with this.
그렇지?
Yes, unless he tries hard to explain himself. Ciel blamed Seungyoung every time there was something that made him look bad. Seungyoung couldn't refute anything. Since dead men tell no tales.
그래.
Yes. That's where the missing piece was. Seungyoung never did the dirty work herself. The person who did it for her was the missing piece.
그랬나?
Ina said she didn't post it, right?
그랬어.
She's too busy for that. Even Hyosung, who was so passionate about Phater, couldn't run multiple accounts.
그래.
Yes, it's all just hearsay.
그렇지?
But it's true Ina's photos were being uploaded by an account unknown to Ina.
그렇다는 건
Then it must be another person.
역시
So do you think it was Ciel? Cheers will say it's Ciel.
맞아.
Maybe Ciel did it. Considering the photos that came out of his bag. Ina also mentioned the viral rumor after seeing them.
왜?
Why do you think he did it voluntarily?
그건
Maybe as part of the special care Ciel was talking about.
그럴지도.
Maybe he thought Ina would benefit from him doing that.
음.
We'll have to hear from Ciel to be sure.
그래.
Yes, we'll have to hear it from Ciel to be sure. Although I'm not sure if he'll tell us the truth. I mean, probably not. He's already in way over his head. I don't imagine he's just going to magically start telling the truth.
설마
The aces in the hole that Hyosung mentioned. Yes, the background check results were reported to Seungyoung.
혹시
If Hyosung information was acquired from the background checks,
이해했어.
now I know why Ciel said he knew what Hyosung was going to say. He had the same information. At the same time, I can understand why Hyosung was so confident. Koihook paused to stare at Ina standing on the other side of the stage. Ciel looked anxious when Ina went to see Hyosung. He said nothing was going to happen, but the worried look on his face was telling a different story.
설마
He probably guessed that Hyosung actually had some kind of info, or he thought Hyosung knew about Ciel's involvement in acquiring the info. Koihook stared at Duyun again.
만약에
If it's the latter, Koihook, you're not saying. Ciel and Hyosung couldn't get along with each other at all. Maybe because Hyosung was always ready to pick a fight with him. It's possible that Ciel was feeling anxious. That's right. Never try to pick a fight with somebody. You never know what they know. Let's see here. What are we at? An hour 41. Okay, so let's start this. I have a feeling these are going to be more hard questions that that are going to take me a couple tries. So we'll start. We'll go until I totally flub it up, which I'm sure will be like the first question. The group gathered in one place after finishing the conversation.
이 정도면 충분하겠지?
더 얘기해도 같은 말 반복일 거야.
그래. 그럼 세일이가 도망친 거 범인이란 게 드러날 것 같아서였을까?
Ian nodded his head reflexively.
그런 것 같아. 남은 건 당사자의 확실한 해명뿐이야.
난 다른 생각이야. 자기 행적이 드러나면서 두려워진 거라고. 확실한 건 추궁에서 벗어나려고 했던 것뿐이니까.
같은 걸 보고도 생각이 갈리네. 언니, 이쪽도 없는 얘기로 우기는 건 아니야.
There was a storm of thoughts and reasons coming from each person. Ian crossed her arms and looked towards Dune.
알겠어요. 이유를 짧게 말씀드릴게요.
Oh boy. Sure, I'm gonna need to take notes. I know I won't get this right the first time. I mean, when have I ever? And sometimes I'm just like tired, and then like in the morning when I play this again, I'll read the question and realize that it was asking for like a very specific response. It's giving you a clue, but I didn't or couldn't figure it out at the time. And then once I had a fresh take on it, then it was like, oh, it's obvious what they're asking for. At least that's usually how I get my answers. Strangely enough, I don't do a whole lot of guessing checking when I come back and try to play the game again. Okay, gather clues as to why Ciel could be the attacker. He ran away when he got caught hiding his tablet. I mean, probably. He ran away when he got caught hiding his tablet. Ciel might have used his tablet to contact Hyesung. Possibly. Aside from the photos, there was a notebook he had always carried and a bunch of papers. More things might be hidden. No. Strange incidents happening around Ina may have been caught by Ciel. Have done anything with others. What was it that he did for Ina? What Hyesung was going to disclose was related to Ina, so Ciel might have taken necessary measures. Yes, probably. Gag. Sensing that Hyesung would expose him, Ciel silenced him by murdering him. He probably wanted people to believe that Hyesung had killed him. Let's see. Yeah, Ciel ran away because he feared the contents of the measure bag would be exposed, not because he felt victimized. Let's try that.
태블릿이 나오면서 전제가 크게 바뀌었어요. 무엇보다 세일이가 따로 연락할 방법이 생겼죠. 지금까진 아예 불가능하다고 생각한 일이었어요. 세일이가 혜성이를 따로 불러 화장실에서 만나는 거. 세일이는 도망치기 전에 역정을 냈어요. 이나를 위해 많은 일을 했다고. 안 보이는 데서.
갑자기 그래서 황당했지.
혜성이가 폭로를 예고하면서 이나는 분장실에 혼자 갈 만큼 불안해했어요. 그 시점에 이나를 위해 뭔가 했다. 안 보이는 데서. 그건 우리가 아는 화장실에서의 사건일지도 몰라요. 정리하면 세일이는 폭로를 막으려고 혜성이를 해쳤고 그 전후로 S 승연이 마치 범인인 것처럼 부각됐죠. 어쩌면 그대로 넘어갈 수 있을지도 모른다고 생각한 게 아닐까요? 그러니까 그게
Oh, this one might be wrong. Oh, it sounds like it is. Being something lost for words. There was something that just didn't quite connect.
생각이 조금 꼬였어.
So that's wrong. Maybe that one?
그러니까 그게
Oh, definitely not that one.
그러니까 그
No. It's the last one. Of course it is. Okay, fear. It's just too much to pick from. My goodness. My goodness. Even my cat's baffled. What? How are those the reasons? I don't know. Who knows? Okay, so I need to load this. I think the autosave is good enough. I think. It should have autosaved just after the report. Okay, so we're gonna say handling, gag, fear, possibility of crime.
태블릿이 나오면서 전제가 크게 바뀌었어요. 무엇보다 세일이가 따로 연락할 방법이 생겼죠. 지금까진 아예 불가능하다고 생각한 일이었어요. 세일이가 혜성이를 따로 불러 화장실에서 만나는 거. 세일이는 도망치기 전에 역정을 냈어요. 이날을 위해 많은 일을 했다고. 안 보이는 데서.
갑자기 그래서 황당했지.
혜성이가 폭로를 예고하면서 이나는 분장실에 혼자 갈 만큼 불안해했어요. 그 시점에 이나를 위해 뭔가 했다. 안 보이는 데서. 그건 우리가 아는 화장실에서의 사건일지도 몰라요. 정리하면 세일이는 폭로를 막으려고 혜성이를 해쳤고 그 전후로 S 승연이 마치 범인인 것처럼 부각됐죠. 어쩌면 그대로 넘어갈 수 있을지도 모른다고 생각한 게 아닐까요? 세일이가 급하게 달아나버린 이유. 그건 억울해서라기보다는 두려워서였던 거예요. 범행이 드러날지도 모른다는 게. 두려워서 도망쳤다는 건 누나도 앞에서 말한 얘기였지. 뭘 두려워했는지는 달랐던 거죠.
내 안에 들어갔다 나왔냐? 네 해석에 1000% 동의해.
과대 해석은 아닐까?
나한테 엄청 역정냈잖아. 자기한테 이럴 순 없다면서.
배신감 느끼는 것처럼 보였어.
왜 그렇게까지 반응하냔 거지. 대체 나 모르게 날 위한다고 무슨 짓까지 했길래.
As the suspicion grew more and Ian began to blame Ciel, he seemed to have been embarrassed and felt betrayed by her.
이나는 가더라도 세일이랑 대면하지 않는 게 좋겠어.
얘기가 왜 그렇게 돼?
아예 농성에 들어가 버릴 수도 있어. 몸싸움이라도 나면
걔 정도는 나도 매다 꽂거든.
It's true.
그래서 말하는 거야. 만약 범인이 아니면 가방 속 물건에 대해 추궁당하는 걸 피하려는 이유였다면 혜성이도 뭘 폭로한다고 하다가 일을 당했잖아. 가방이 걸리면서 자기도 타깃이 될 수 있다고 생각했을지도.
그럴지도 모르지. 정말로 범인이 아니라면.
Ciel seemed to be afraid that the contents of his messenger bag would make him seem suspicious. Well, it does. It definitely makes him seem suspicious.
얘기 끝난 것 같네. 가자. 저쪽도 왜 안 오나 하겠어.
설득해서 나오는 게 중요해.
Now, is he going to be dead when we find him?
만약에 말이 안 통하면
강제로라도 끌어내야겠죠. 이번에야말로. 세일아!
착실하네. 문까지 꼭꼭 걸어 잠그고.
잠깐 형, 나도 불러볼게. 세일아, 문 열어. 얘기 좀 해.
제대로 된 대화 가능하긴 하세요?
야! 대화 할락말락 하는데 네가 짠 거 아니야?
당장 후드러 팰 기세였죠. 살인범 잡았다고.
그런 게 아니라.
그럼 아니야? 아니면 나와서 제대로 말해.
우리 방침 정한 거 아니었어?
나 빠지라고? 알겠어.
Ina put her hands up and stepped back.
약속해. 이제 덮어놓고 몰아세우진 않아.
형, 베스타에서 어떤 캐릭터인지 아시죠?
그건
세일아, 얼굴 보고 얘기해. 그럴 수 있잖아.
아니요, 안 되겠어요. 기다리지 말고 무대로 가세요.
거긴 위험해.
바깥도 별로 안전한 것 같진 않네요.
It's the same thing.
야, 진짜 문 안 여냐? 확 부수고 들어간다.
Ciel stopped answering.
혼자만의 시간이 필요하신가 보네.
이렇게 될지도 모른다고 생각하긴 했지만
두고 갈 순 없어.
알아. 그러겠다고 온 거잖아.
정말 끌어내기라도 해야겠어.
잠겼잖아.
스텝 복도에서 들어가는 뒷문도 있긴 한데
거긴 폐문이었죠. 전혀 안 열렸으니까.
그럼 몸통 박치기라도 해?
그러다 무너지기라도 하면.
Everyone fell silent. Whitehook, who was rubbing his hand against his mouth, suddenly raised his head.
마스터 키.
마스터키? 그런 게 있어?
아, 스텝 중에는 가진 사람이 있다고 들었어.
스텝이라면 지금 저 안에 틀어박혀 있는데.
한 사람 더 있어. 피디님.
조사했을 때 키 같은 건 못 봤는데?
본 건 상처 쪽이었어. 몸수색을 한 건 아니었지. 확실하게 있다는 보장은 없어. 생각난 것뿐이야.
Young slowly nodded.
확인해볼 가치는 있어. 상황을 바꿔야지. 어떻게든.
도윤아, 부탁해. 난 계속 대화를 시도해볼게.
You want me to do it?
같이 가.
언니, 괜찮겠어?
둘이서 찾으면 더 빠르겠지.
그거야 그런데
도윤아, 혼자가 아니야. 가보자.
알겠어요. 누나가 괜찮다면.
Wyhook also gave him a glance.
그 전에 끄집어내 볼게.
발밑 조심하면서 확인만 부탁해.
확인하고 바로 돌아올게.
Young nodded and headed to the corridor with Young.
그러고 보니까 진동 한참 없어.
안정돼서 그런 거면 좋겠는데.
언제 또 닥칠지 몰라. 그 전에 세일이를 꺼내야지. 가자. PD님 있는 데까지. 심사위원석 근처였던 것 같은데.
네. 절 따라오세요.
Young's body still looked horrible. They reached out carefully. They checked her jacket and pockets.
없는데. 조금 더 보자.
저쪽 두 사람 괜찮겠지?
형이 있으니까요. 이나도 여차하면 세리를 잡을 수 있고.
They couldn't find the master key. Young stopped looking at her watch and raised her head.
사원증은 가져가 봤자 일 테고.
어쩔 수 없겠어요.
혹시나 했는데.
Young had a disappointed look on her pale face. Young checked his watch to see what time it was.
더 보는 건 시간 낭비겠어요. 돌아가죠.
다른 방법이 없겠어.
Is one of them dead now? Or are they both dead?
어땠어?
없었어. 마스터 키.
이나는?
스텝 복도 분장실 뒷문 쪽에 갔어. 양쪽 문 다 보고 있으려고.
Wyhook stepped back and Young knocked on the dressing room door.
이제 그만 문 열어. 세일아.
얘기할 거 없어요. 나가요.
The door was still locked. Wyhook shook his head while fiddling with his watch.
이나가 빠져도 요지부동이야.
방법이 없나? 진짜로.
They blankly stared at the closed door.
진동이야.
이나가
Tina came out running from the staff corridor.
이나야. 괜찮아? 무너지는 줄 알았어.
Young patted her on the back, waiting for the rumbling to subside. Oh.
매번 그랬지만 이번엔 진짜였다.
Did it collapse and kill him inside?
이번이 제일 셌던 것 같아.
어떻게 하지? 이젠
더 꾸물거릴 시간이 없어. 강제로라도 들어가자.
무너지면 어떡하려고?
반대로 분장실이 무너질 수도 있어. 뭐든 선택은 해야 되는 상황이야.
방치할 순 없어.
Young finally agreed with him.
무슨 얘기든 나오게 한 다음이야.
무슨 일 난다 싶으면 바로 물러서.
그래야겠지. 도윤아, 해보자.
Leon and Goyhook stood in front of the door side by side.
세일아, 우리 들어간다. 비켜 있어.
No response. Suddenly, a leery feeling lingered in the air.
왜 대답이 없지? 세일아,
안 되겠어. 형, 가자.
They threw themselves at the door. The door budged but did not open.
안 돼, 열려라.
They rammed their bodies against the door again. The door catch fell and the door slightly opened. The light was off. He unwillingly followed Goyhook. Oh, he hung himself, huh?
이거 그거야?
그렇다고 밖에는.
살겠다고 틀어박힌 거 아니었어?
Ina stood against the wall and panted heavily.
다 틀렸다고 생각해 버린 거야?
조금만 더 빨랐으면.
Everyone collapsed out of despair.
안 돼.
Leon slowly stood up.
나 확인해 봐야겠어.
어떤 걸?
세일이가 지녔던 진실. 그걸 모르고서 이렇게 끝내버릴 순 없어.
The rest of the group gathered around Dune one by one. Okay, why don't we stop it there? This is Audapostrophe. You've been watching Buried Stars on Nintendo Switch. Well, what a set of revelations, huh? I mean, I guess we always knew that he was probably not going to survive, especially with him being so creepy. But it is interesting, all the kind of dirt they dug up, and it was nice having additional moments for every character to learn more about them. They're all like tragic characters, which, quite frankly, is the truth behind most musicians. Is that really good musicians have very troubled paths. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will see you at the next stream.